After fighting show 10, good a battle of life without death. Test right now. There's no going on. He just stood there, staring at 10 good people. After a while, he asked if it would continue. 10 people look at it. Sure. The test is staring at you. I'll give you 10 breaths to adjust. When he finished, he turned to the distance. 10 good people stand up and look at the shadow of his back thinking. That's what it turns out. This guy's responsibility before he dies. Maybe it's nurturing talent. Or entrust something to that AI. So when it attacks first-class fighters, even if you beat them later, it doesn't kill them either. In this sense, perhaps in the East A. After Master defeated it, refused a request to hang on to it for years, or reject its mandate. That's why it left East. AI only needs to think about the fate between us and the Master. It can transcend space and time to reconnect with each other. In this way, there's an inexpressible emotion in my heart. Maybe one day not far away, between me and the 10, you can continue in the same way. The unknown martial artist really thanks you. As a thank you, I will do my best to win you. Help you fulfill your own responsibilities. Then help you be freed. While 10 good thoughts. Then the responsibility has turned again. When 10 people saw it turn around, they smiled. Then make the fighting look waving. The signal continues, even though it says so. But I am of the present. It certainly can't be its rival. But if you ask the devil for help, this is contrary to the purpose of this training. And the record of suppressing this big guy. I'm not sure it counts for my work. I remember thinking about it like before. Master once told me how to deal with these kinds of tests. What to do. 10 virtues in the mind quickly recall the old. Then every day, you all go with 10 deem to the mountain. The 2 of them stood on one side every day, observing the battle of Tran Hung. With this test, Tran Hung beat for the test every day. A battle then stopped. More later, the test is being taken more quickly. 10 goodness at that time could not help but ask Tran Hung. Master took the exam on that mountain. I have been able to fight with people before. But at SAO recently, it can only withstand 10 of your tricks. Tran Hung laughed and replied, because we've found its weakness. 10 amazing virtues weaknesses SAO what it is. Tran Hung seriously explained. Weakness. These are the places where martial artists practice their bodies. Before mastering your skills, they will definitely have some weaknesses. That these weaknesses, only they themselves know. Once the location of the weakness is leaking out. Even when you meet an opponent, I have a lower level than myself. It's hard to be sure of winning. 10 amazing goodness. Weakness has such a big limitation SAO. Tran Hung nodded yes. But the higher the limit, the higher the power is. Once this old martial art, go beyond your own limits and train into the immortal body of the diamond. They will get out of the box. They are weak and will become the top players in the world. Just to remind you, my Venus flame. Very suitable to find the enemy's weakness in real combat. If later, encountering martial artists who specialize in physical humiliation, then you can try to find a breakthrough. By using fire labels Venus. Find out the enemy's weaknesses. 10 good people remember everything and wake up. Remember, that's a weakness. He's sure there's some fatal weakness in people. The test is also in front of you. You've taken 10 breaths. What are you doing? 10 good to see the enemy hit. Then quickly sideways to avoid. While avoiding a direct blow from the opponent. But you're still under the influence, and you've injured one cheek. Finish this one book, take the test again, and say it. This time forgive you. I won't remind you next time. 10 Goodness look at the blood on his face, nervously nod. I know, then quickly back up. Prolong the distance from the enemy. Even though we know this guy is a fatal weakness. But it only stops at knowing. With the current power gap between us and it. If we maintain our armor throughout the fight, then our gas might not be enough until the time of counterattack. But if you don't use gas, sit outside the fight. He stroked his chin to look at the serpent. Are you sure this guy has a trick? Have the power beyond us. There is such a large base. Why didn't it use earlier? Don't tell this kid to his B-level VI. I want to chase victory with a martial artist. By my own strength, I am the best. This is too extravagant. The snake is still staring at the painting. Be patient and watch. The one the owner named for us to escort. That extravagance. Maybe it's just a reflection of his natural talent. Inside the world in painting. 10 good things to avoid now. Escape from the opponent's position. The test is both out and non-stop counting. 5th time, 6th time, 10th time. I must give it to you. How many times will you understand? You don't even use armor. I have no right to fight with you. While it screams furiously to attack. 10 good people finally see their weaknesses. That's the left hip. Take the test again. Use a stone to fly 10 good. You stand up straight and stare at it. I found it. Its weakness is an inch below the armpit. The test still does not know the intentions of 10 good. Even after I hit you, I couldn't stop screaming. If you think you're not doing your best, we will have to limit our power. Because of your weakness. Then you're completely wrong. I will give you 5 breaths. If you still don't use gas. So let's lose. 10 Goodness look at it smile. Even if you can't control your power. And he hit me to death. Then we'll never surrender. When you hear that, you get angry. Blue veins floating in the face. Then he threw his fist and screamed. You thought I wouldn't dare. 10 good see that. It is also quick to fly away. Jump to right hand. You can quickly use the armor. Right now, we only have one chance. It's most likely to attack a weakness an inch below its armpit. 10 good people accept a punch from the opponent. In exchange for a chance 2.1 at his weaknesses. And in the end, your choice worked. Even though he ate a blow like the enemy's fall. But you also succeeded. Dissolve the weakness of the concept. On the face of the exam right now. Inside the eyes and mouth is constantly flowing with fresh blood. He stared at 10 good questions. Stop it. My weakness is broken. Your master. I have revealed my weakness to you. 10 good people try to get up. It's not that we see for ourselves. The thought is down to applaud. Well done, master. You have made a good disciple. I'm really jealous of him. 10 good people quickly stand up, then slowly walk in front of the person who accepts the exam. What is your acceptance? Do you need my help to complete it? The test is looking up at you. After a while, he said out. I want this unique martial art that I've learned. Be transmitted again, but I also hope that one day I have a master to help me fix it. And perfecting this unfinished martial art. I used to ask your master, but he only agreed to half. 10 goodness put thumb to mouth bite one. Then we'll do the rest. What's your secret skills name? And where can we find it? You said you just put out your hand. Let me show you my hand with you. In the deep cave at the top of Fan Shipang Mountain, I've carved out my incomplete sutra. There the concept is dissolved. Consciousness is also quickly disappearing. 10 beautiful eyes stood there. I watched his body slowly disappear. After a while, the rest of the test. There's only one pair of shorts left. The serpent is now also going to the back of 10 virtues. You shouldn't agree. Help him carry out his responsibilities. 10 good glances at the serpent, asked at Sao. He walked in front of you slowly. In the world after death, and the system of reincarnation that the imperial capital perfected, the willed zombie is a very special entity. They give up the value of reincarnation and give up the chance to reincarnate. I'd rather stay in the world and fulfill my will at birth. It's better than getting a second chance. This led to the police subduing them. Much higher than suppressing demons of the same level. If you want to help it complete its purpose. But instead, lock it inside the mirror 8 freaks of sonic aberration. The process of becoming your organ will be significantly shortened. 10 Kindness calmly replied, that's not necessary. Snake shrugs his shoulders. Okay, then let's talk about acceptance. Did you know? In fact, the first and second kings of the great army after his death, they also become memories. The will of the emperor, the second king of the great army, was destroyed. The owner was also at the scene. In fact, my owner, no need to be stuck in difficult circumstances, locked himself in Thailand to help define life and death in Henan. But it was because of the will of the first king of the great army. It changed my master's mind. While he's talking to 10 people, the people outside shouted, "You've revealed too much. Come on out here, snake." Silently raise your head and look up. Next, it's the same 10 good things that come out of the picture. 2 good people just came out. Go down and continue talking. There's still some time until dawn. The horseman will lead you to your career. Glass radio pay tribute. A little later 10 good with snake. Go Ma was taken to Quang Vuong. I just went to 10 people who noticed a body image. Standing in the electricity. This person is Korean. He's standing in front of the radio, paying his respects. I saw 10 good people coming. He turned his head and asked, "Oh, I can't believe that outside of my God's grace, there is another false sign which serves the kings. It's rare to see ghosts. After a while, the work is done." He quickly gave the wrong command. His body was slowly disappearing in front of the people. Wait for the enemy to leave 10 before turning to the snake. Who is he? The serpent quickly helps you solve your doubts, or even though the government has collapsed. 10 power Pluto, most of them are silent. But there are still some kings and retainers. Kuan Yin sigh his. Faithfully carry out the task. This person has. It was probably under a certain king. Be faithful to your mission. Don't worry about him anymore. You go up. The long-tongued devil is locked inside the Shi Shan. Command shown on the radio. And then we're leaving. If we don't go back to Earth before dawn, we'll be trapped here. This place is still too dangerous for you. 10 good nods. Do what the serpent says. Above the world, the dawn is slowly coming down. The bull stood on the top of the mountain, constantly walking back and forth. It's almost dawn. Why haven't they come back yet? When he finished speaking, the 10 good people returned. Go down and look at them. If you slow down a little bit more, then you'll have to stay there. The code is difficult to understand, but we don't have to delay that much. The flow of time between yin and yang. has changed again. Sao. Very quickly, the sun rose to break the night. Tran Hung is standing on a mountain top somewhere. Look to the distance. Well, it's already morning. The tree next to him suddenly moved. Very fast body photo. The dog came out from the inside. We're done here, we can go. Tran Hung looked at him and said, yes. Let me help you pay your debt to God first. Then we'll deal with the cause and effect behind us. That is right. This time God will tell you what to do. The priest immediately replied to you. Give me a list of people to clean up. They're all Westerners with blonde hair and blue eyes. There's a person in there, just like the man behind the devil. In the pages of these Westerners. Maybe they're all believers in foreign gods. Tran Hung stroked his chin, laughing. It's interesting. I can't believe our fate and theirs. Reconnected in this way. Now, can you feel their position? The bird can nod its head. But they're not together right now. Some in the world and some in hell. Tran hung up for an hour. See, the workload is not small. A while ago on the side of the wind. He thought he was still playing chess. All day and all night. I thought I looked at Gao. A spiritual tug of war with a foreign god. It's hard, isn't it? I can't understand why he said that. I thought I just played the flag. Stop pretending. I've seen it. On you, there is the heir of the royal family. I don't know how contaminated you are. But as someone who's experienced, I want to give you some advice. Get out of it as soon as possible. Otherwise, your will be corrupted by it. Right now, SA executed again, according to the Tibetan king and Nin Trung. Go to your majesty. Ning Trung came back and thought he looked back. Thinking is long. The baby was born at the same time as the Red Cross. Why? The SA is operating now. He then made a sign to Gao. Gao saw that. The chess movement immediately stops. This sign is not long back. It's a great power from another world. Down to this world. By through the body long Sao. The king of Tibet saw Gao Sheng. It's also amazing in my heart. Martyrs receive the favor of heaven Sao. Then Ra is like that. There is nothing strange. When the capital can live. Left until now. Turns out, there's this guy. He's fighting the tower for him. That's a good thing for this world. It's useless. Good to think of this, the Tibetan king immediately shouted. Lord, I will help you become a leader. Fake martyrdom new. Unexpected is that Gao Huang is extremely indifferent. I refuse. Lord Tibet thought the enemy would be happy. You can nod. But very quickly, she realized she was wrong. Open your mouth. What do you refuse at Sao? The woman next door saw her so excited. Stop her immediately. What are you doing? We don't have an appointment here to deal with this. The ceremony in front also turned his head and glanced at her. Think of this voice. It seems that she has awakened the memory of her past life. She said, I want to withdraw from Gao Sheng's exam. That means she's also found out. Gao Huang's exam acceptance may have been blessed by martyrs. And have the status, vying for the position of the next chief martyr. High from beginning to end. Still don't care about the organs. Still carefully play the flag and hit and answer. I will not cooperate with those who inadvertently burning hundreds of people in one of my districts. Calm down and stare at him. People who do things without question. The details of endless rebirth and birth. Whether people in Duong Vu district, not burned to death. They can only live 100 years. My appearance. It just speeds up that process. More so than the fire that we brought to this world. A little sacrifice like this is worth it. Is it true? Take a deep breath. For Ian and Lee spring to say, this may be a worthwhile deal. But for me and my successor, they have no right to represent people in Duong Vu district. He was burned to death by the Red Cross. Forgive you. When the enemy is so stubborn, he is angry. Frowned silently thinking, this obnoxious recalcitrant. After a while, she suddenly smiled. It's very similar to what I was before I was baptized. Thought on one side, listening to them talk, he also scratched his chin. I have heard him say that. Organ capital pursue great, the Holy Spirit is a holy mother. And swore to destroy all evil in hell. But after his great path, destroyed by the wind, his character has changed a great deal. Become cold and cruel, like most people in the physical world. That's how we met today. That he voluntarily offered. Help Gao Sheng become a Christian. Maybe it's not because of the creatures of this world. Haha, it seems that Ra is to avenge the royal capital, who has destroyed his way of life. Look in this direction, the number of enemies of the capital. I'm afraid there's still a lot. The embodiments of great powers in another world. Your head is hiding in this world. While thinking about. Then, suddenly, Gao stood up. Before, I can't stand to act with a baby. Can only impose restrictions on the soul of the long. To prevent your resurrection. But now, you have passed the seal, and gained control of this body. Then I have no reason to keep you. This world can be visceral color, face dead aesthetic. I know all too well about these types of characters. In high-level battles, moral standards are too high, will be targeted by the enemy. I don't know if he can get through the storm. Even if we get through it with our help. Then he fought the tower and the foreign gods. He will also. Think about it here. Suddenly, he stood in front of you. He begged His Majesty to rest his hands. This person is still useful. The speed of delivery has not decreased. 2 fingers in front of Nin Trung's forehead. Nin Trung, though the cold sweat came out like rain. But still standing there. High prosperity reluctantly had to retract the trick. Is it useful? Is it useful? Nin Trung saw that he closed his eyes and breathed out. Then quickly tell everything. It starts with what we've come across. When you get to the city, after a compressed incense time, Ning Trung has completely told everything. For the people, Gao Sheng was a little surprised to ask, you mean the gods are hiding in hell? Has created a kind of demonic poetry with potential beyond the monsters. Normally, you need me to send the master down to hell. To eradicate the alien body. It's the source of those monsters. Ning Trung seriously nodded. Yes, I saw it with my own eyes. I can see the horror of these monsters. Once they get to heaven. I'm afraid that. Before he finished speaking, Gao Sheng interrupted him. I already know what you said. When Ning Trung heard that, he was astonished. You already know everything. Gao saw him so excited. Quickly explain. Yes, sometimes, I'm still in touch with my old colleagues in Spring Hell. When the tourist scene in Ha Nam Dao, they reported to me that there's a kind of descendant of an evil god. This is harder to deal with than the devil. Appeared in the hell of blood. The police know this too. Or you think, why would he risk breaking the balance? Suppression of floods and permanent droughts. Because he needs enough merit to deter the pagans in hell, to maintain that fragile balance. Nin Trung is amazing. Why didn't he tell me?